to News Round, a recap of stories amid headlines during the week. Coming up, residents of Suleja, Niger State, take to the streets to express displeasure over the high cost of living in the country. House of Representatives calls for immediate intervention by the government. And President Bola Tinubu intervenes in economic situation, directs Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to release food from strategic reserves. And Nigeria's Minister of Finance hosts meeting between the West and Central Africa finance ministers and the World Bank officials on funding. Plus, Britain's King Charles III rests at home after beginning outpatient cancer treatment on Monday. I will begin our news round in Niger State, where women and youths trooped out to vent their anger over what they say is the high cost of living in the state. Protesters blocked major roads within the metropolis, maintaining that the rising cost of food items and lack of government effort to arrest the situation forced them onto the streets to ensure government hears their cry. Meanwhile, Governor Umaru Bago has banned mass purchase of grains from local markets in the state following the protest, explaining the government is not unaware of the hardship in the land.
Women and youths in the streets of Minna, the Niger State capital, to protest the high cost of living. Protesters blocked major roads within the metropolis in the morning, lamenting the rising cost of food items and government's inability to arrest the situation. Attempts by the deputy governor and his team to address the crowd were at first not productive. Eventually, he was able to get through to the protesters.
His Excellency received a report this morning that yes, there is a group of youths and women that are protesting about the issue of economic hardship. And already the council is on process. He directed me, the advisor political and the commissioner for local governments, to go and address the youths, because the issue they comes up with is about issue of hunger. And already in one of the items of discussion in the council is about issue, how do you question the economic hardship of the entire state, and how do you relate with the federal governments to ensure that yes, some policy that will come with human face, that our people will not be in languishing of this added poverty. So we have gone there and we have addressed the youths that actually we are discussing to see how we can bring issue of palliative around the state, not only a segment of people that are protesting. And I want to tell you that yes, not in some few days to come, the state government will see into action to ensure that yes, we elevate the issue so that this protest will not continue.
However, later in the day, the governor, Mr. Umar Bago, addressed residents of the state in a broadcast.
The federal government has shown interest. I've spoken to the vice president, I've spoken to the NSA on the current situation, and we're on top of it. We have also sent a lot of security apparatuses to locations where we think are vulnerable.
He also announced a ban on mass purchase of grains from local markets in the state.
Trucks who come to park or buy foodstuffs from our villagers in bulk should be halted for now. We have stopped mass purchase from our local market in all our local government from now henceforth until further notice. Anybody found doing that, we have given security agencies go ahead to confiscate those trucks and share the food to the people.
The state administration also condemned the actions of those who speculate and hoard food in an attempt to profit from future price increase.
And it appears the message regarding the high cost of living in the country is reaching the appropriate quarters. The day after the process in Minna, Niger State, the House of Representatives called for the immediate intervention of government in reducing the cost of living in the country. The House, through a motion by Honorable Isiaka Ibrahim, asked the federal government to invest in high-impact measures.
Members of the House of Representatives are back after the by-elections conducted over the weekend. The pressing issue of the cost of living in the country is raised as a matter of urgent national importance. The House calls for federal investment in impactful measures while appealing to stakeholders in the production chain to be more realistic in price increments on their goods and services. The Ministers of Finance, Budget and National Planning, the CBN Governor and the FIRS Chairman are admitted into the chamber. And the debate is kicked off by the Deputy Speaker.
We're going to start with the FIRS.
One after the other, the invited guests speak on the state of the economy from their various perspectives.
Given this economic condition and with the promise of Mr. President, what we need to do is to re-strategize within to make sure that we bring more people into tax net. So without increasing the tax rate, that will be able to meet the targets. And that is what has led to us restructuring.
The urgency of the matter is not lost on us at the central bank. And I really want to assure you that we're working tirelessly with colleagues from across government, including with the leadership of this House, to bring lasting solutions.
We are not going to take the easy way out. And more than that, the budget provided more money, both on nominal and in real terms, than has ever been provided in the priority sectors.
Where we are as a nation economically is a much, much better place than we were on the 29th of May, 2023. If we look at the finances of the government today, there has been benefit to the Federation account. And likewise, there have been other benefits which have accrued as a result of the changes that have been made.
They respond to questions from lawmakers on improving the economy and its impact on the cost of living, which is generating pockets of protests across the country.
A lot of the measures that have been rolled out to turn the very challenging situation around are beginning to yield fruit. They are beginning to yield fruit. You find that, and I said this in my presentation, the liquidity of the foreign exchange market for quite a while has been less than satisfactory, as a result of which the central bank has rolled out certain policies to ease that.
Number one route to salvation is getting crude oil exports up. It is God-given. The price is at $80, $77/$80. You can't get much higher than that. In the days when we had $100 billion of revenue, the oil price wasn't that high, but production was at 2.2 million barrels. You can do the mathematics. In short, our easiest and quickest route to a better living standard for all Nigerians in the short term is raising oil production, oil exports, oil sales, bringing in foreign exchange.
This is the second in the series of sectoral debates organized by the House to address concerns in various sectors of the country. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
And intervening in the economic situation in the country, the president has directed the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to immediately release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet and other commodities in strategic reserves to ensure that food becomes more readily available to Nigerians. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, stated this at the State House after meeting of the Presidential Committee on Emergency Food Intervention.
The first one is that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has been directed to release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet and other commodities, gari and other commodities as in their strategic reserve, so that these items will be made available to Nigerians, 42,000 metric tons immediately. The second one is that we have held meetings with the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria, those who are responsible for producing this rice, and we have asked them to open up their stores. They've told us that they can guarantee about 60,000 metric tons of rice. They will make that available to Nigerians to bring it out to the market so that food will be made available. Now, the whole idea of this is to crash the cost of these food items. And these are measures that will happen immediately if it becomes absolutely necessary as an interim measure on the short run to also import some of these commodities immediately so that these commodities can be made available to Nigerians immediately within the next couple of weeks. Now, all these are emergency measures. There is, of course, a directive to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to invest massively in conjunction with Nigerian farmers and other producers so that we can have better season coming shortly.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Abbas Tajuddin, is assuring Nigerians of the lower chamber's commitment to ensuring that the current challenges become a thing of the past. Honorable Tajuddin also is calling on Nigerians to keep faith in the 10th Assembly's resolve to ending economic hardships while reeling out the plans of the Assembly geared towards guaranteeing food security. He was addressing a World Press Conference at the National Assembly complex in the nation's capital, Abuja.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, arrives at meeting room 301 of the House of Representatives to address a World Press Conference over critical issues in the polity.
In today's venue,
he reveals that the House is set to take steps over the unfortunate spate of insecurity in the country.
While recognizing and commending the patriotic and courageous efforts of our security agencies, we must have the courage to effect changes where necessary. These are among the issues that the forthcoming Legislative Security Summit will address. This summit, which comes up in a matter of weeks, will, among others, allow us to hear directly from the key stakeholders in the sector and come up with legislative measures to modernize our security system and improve its operational efficiency and effectiveness.
Mr. Abbas also laments the current economic hardship being experienced by Nigerians.
We are aware of the economic challenges facing our constituents across Nigeria. Of particular concern to the House is the high inflation rates, particularly the rate of food inflation. As you are all aware, various factors, including insecurity, economic downtowns, and climate change-induced disruptions have exacerbated this crisis. I wish to commend the rapid and decisive response of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the issue of food security. The 2023 supplementary budget provided a 200 billion naira palliative package, mainly for grains, seeds, agricultural inputs, and equipment for farmers. This momentum has been sustained in the 2024 budget, which has significantly improved the budgetary allocations to all critical sectors of the economy.
After the briefing, the Speaker then takes questions from journalists. He assures Nigerians that the Parliament will leave no stone unturned to change the fortunes of the country.
I'm sure my honorable colleagues and every meaning Nigerian will tell you that there is no better time for the Nigerian Parliament to come out and speak the minds of Nigerians, to respond to their anger, to their agony, to their pains. There is no better time. That's why we're here. We are not here to take care of ourselves. We are here to represent our people. And at this time, at this era, with the kind of hardship Nigerians are facing, it becomes obvious and expedient on us to call for this briefing and to tell the world that we are concerned. We feel their pains, we hear their problems, and we will not relent in coming out to solutions that will ameliorate all their sufferings.
The House of Representatives is also pledging to work with the executive arm of government to ensure that Nigerians get the dividends of democracy sooner than later. Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
At one news round returns, King Charles III begins outpatient cancer treatment. Details later on. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The Lagos Business School has held its first edition of the LBS Brown Box series to showcase individuals from its alumni that are championing positive change in the society. With this maiden event focusing on the media, the platform aims to serve as a beacon for those seeking inspiration on their entrepreneurial journeys.
It's the first edition of the LBS Brown Box series, and it's also the start of a journey to discover the ideas that spark change and uncover the stories that inspire action. In this room are individuals who are redefining the norms and pushing the boundaries of not just creativity, but entrepreneurship in the country. The first of this series focuses on the innovative LBS alumni in the media, and it's an interesting lineup of speakers whose brilliance have over the years transformed ideas into reality, regardless of the adversities they face. They share their stories to inspire others.
What we're experiencing right now in our country.
The CEO of SONU, Udeme Ufot, and the GMD of Royal Roots Nigeria, Greg Odutayo, share tips to guide entrepreneurs to their goals.
The biggest challenge of Nigerian entrepreneurs is short-termism. Ask yourself, when someone else gets on this seat, who is not exactly like me, these powers I control, will the power be used in the interest of the business or in fact against the business? So you think long-term. Think of building an institution, not just an organization. And building the institution starts with the rules you set from day one.
One thing has defined me here: a vision, a direction, a plan of what you want to do, and staying focused. Becoming a client service person in my early days was an easy sell for me. They were the sharp boys. They were the ones who were in business. But I wanted to do radio and TV because it was clearly that's my vision, that's my direction, and I have stayed true to it to date, 27 years now.
The chairman of the channel's media group, Dr. John Momo, and the CEO of Business Day, Frank Igbogu, tell their tales of triumph, showcasing the strength of the human spirit and proving that even in the face of challenges, one can rise above and inspire others to do the same.
The Phoenix's analogy with the Thornbird analogy offers a nuanced perspective on the Nigerian situation, emphasizing different aspects of struggle, of sacrifice, and the quest for beauty amidst pain. And while the phoenix represents resilience, rebirth, and transformation after destruction, the Thornbird, from the legend popularized by the great novelist Colin McCullough, symbolizes the beauty and agony of unattainable aspirations and the ultimate sacrifice for a moment of perfection. In the dance between the phoenix and the Thornbird, we find a narrative rich with lessons for Nigeria. The phoenix urges us to embrace our challenges as catalysts for rebirth and transformation, encouraging us to rise time and time again from our collective ashes. And conversely, the Thornbirds invite us to reflect on the depth and beauty of our national aspirations, reminding us that actual progress often demands sacrifice.
It's very interesting, the life of an entrepreneur, but it can also be lonely. Those days when we couldn't pay salaries, it was one of our directors, Manish Garg, that I met at Lagos Business School, who would say to me, Frank, any month the figures don't add up, just tell me, I'll send a check. And every month Manish did when we called upon him. I said at some point, people had 60% of the equity of Business Day. I was used to that. Today, with the management, we control 89%.
For the LBS, the goal is to project their alumni so others can benefit from their wealth of experience.
It's slightly akin to what the TEDx is, but then with a tilt of it, because we want our alumni to tell their stories, and these stories can inspire others to know that though the journey is long, where they are now is not where they started from, and the importance of starting strong, staying the course, and being ethical in the things that you do.
This platform is really to showcase the fact that despite all the uncertainties and the issues that we may face as a nation, all we need to do is really rise up to the challenge and find ways that we can still be able to create change.
This special edition of the LBS Brown Box series explores the untold stories of resilience and determination of these individuals, and spotlighting their incredible journeys will remind others that change starts with a single spark and actions can ignite a flame of transformation.
And to other matters now, the Ministers of Finance in Western Central Africa and development partners have been discussing the next round of financing of the World Bank in Abuja. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, who's hosting the meeting, highlighted some of the issues the region is facing, including food security, economic growth, electricity supply, and social safety net, among others. Before the meeting went into a closed-door session, Mr. Edu noted that the World Bank plays a key role in addressing these issues.
Ministers of Finance from Western Central Africa are holding this ministerial roundtable with representatives of the World Bank and other development financial institutions to discuss funding for development in the sub-regions. The Nigerian Minister of Finance is leading the West African sub-region into the meeting, and he shares his thoughts on funding options available to each region.
We could do better with our financial muscle as central banks, as countries that have substantial reserves, which have to be kept somewhere and could be probably better utilized to enable us to meet our development goals.
In May of 2023, the World Bank approved $460 million credit and grants to improve and harmonize data systems in 8 ECOWAS countries. Similarly, $290 million was approved in September of 2023 by the bank for regional harmonization and improvement of statistics in Central Africa. The bank plans to do more to improve the economy in the sub-regions.
We want to work hand in hand with you towards the very best achievable results for the long-term prosperity of your countries. That is really the World Bank's raison d'être. This is why we seek an even stronger engagement with you going forward to give you the priority, the partnership, and the investments, both finance and knowledge, I should emphasize, that you need.
Specifically, the bank aims to invest in electricity, food security, among others.
But this would be a real turning point to get all these people access to electricity. We also supported about 20 million farmers and pastoralists with urgent agricultural inputs. Under the Digital Economy for Africa initiative, we together committed to double broadband penetration over 5 years from 2016 to 2021. But in fact, we tripled it.
The meeting goes into a closed-door session where the ministers are expected to share thoughts on the development agenda of the World Bank Group.
And we end our news round in the UK, where many have been commending the King for his openness, revealing his cancer diagnosis. Oncologists in the country hope this will encourage more people to talk about their symptoms if they suspect they might have cancer and to seek advice. This next report catches the mood in London, a city learning about the King's diagnosis.
The King's cancer diagnosis is the lead story on almost all of today's front pages. Not just here in Britain, but across the world. World leaders have used X to express their shock and, most importantly, to send their best wishes. US President Joe Biden writes here on the platform, Navigating a cancer diagnosis, treatment and survivorship takes hope and absolute courage. Jill and I join the people of the United Kingdom in praying that His Majesty experiences a swift and full recovery. Buckingham Palace said in a statement released to the press on Monday night, during the King's recent hospital procedure for a benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. The 75-year-old monarch is already undergoing treatment and is stepping back from public duties during this time.
I think generally the mood music across the UK is obviously one of shock and one of worry and one of anxiety. He has only just taken up the throne, but it looks on the positive side, and you see pictures of him walking around. He looks like he's in good health. He's working as much as ever he has been in the last few weeks and months. And actually, Queen Camilla has been saying how she thinks he's a workaholic. He needs to slow down sometimes. So I don't think you're seeing any of the physical signs of any deterioration, but it is obviously shocking nonetheless.
Known for being a workaholic, the diagnosis is likely to be professionally devastating for Charles, who was the longest-serving heir to the throne in British history before he became king on the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, on September the 8th, 2022.
We should really be careful not to overload him, because he started off very enthusiastic, firing on all cylinders, wanting really to change the ecology, change the youths, change this. So he had a real full menu. But right now, he's got to delete everything and make sure that he takes care of himself.
Well, as to be expected, since the crack of dawn, thousands of people have travelled from across the country here to Buckingham Palace to offer their well wishes to the royal family. As the world awaits further information about the health condition of King Charles III, all we can do now is to keep him and his loved ones in our thoughts and prayers. Juliana Olayinka reporting for Channels Television News in London.
And that's News Round for the week. Thanks for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye-bye.